Hello everyone, I'm Muhammad Alifin Yusuf. I will representing the Statistics and Data Science program at Universitas Negeri Semarang. Today, we are going to dive into an interesting and highly relevant topic for all of us as students, the relationship between daily screen time and first semester GPA. Next. Before we get into the data, I want to quickly acknowledge the brilliant research team behind this study. I worked on this project alongside my colleagues, Muhammad Akbar Anugrah Shafa and Arini Najla Hania. We are all incredibly excited to share our finding with you today. Next, let's start with our methodology and what we actually set out of ASIF. We conducted a quantitative study analyzing data from 40 respondents. Our main goal was to see exactly how our digital habits interact with our academic outcomes. We focus on two primary variables. Our independent variable, which is daily screen time measured in hours, and our dependent variable, cumulative GPA. The core research question driving this study is simple. Is there a statistically significant negative correlation between the duration of screen usage and students' cumulative GPA? Next, moving on to our descriptive summary. Let's take a look at the dataset we gathered. From our 40 respondents, we found that this is generally a high-performing student cohort, boasting an impressive mean GPA of 3.74. The lowest GPA in the group was 3.20, and the highest was a perfect 4.00. However, when we look at digital usage, the habit varies significantly. The average screen time sits at 8.45 hours per day. But as you can see from the spread, it ranges from a minimum of 4.5 hours all the way to a maximum of 13 hours daily. Next. Now, let's break down the academic performance a bit further. Looking at the GPA distribution on the left, we can see a negative skewness of negative 0.759. In plain English, this just means that the vast majority of our students possess high GPAs that are heavily concentrated in the 3.7 to 4.0 range. The long left tail indicates that only a small minority have lower GPA between 3.2 and 3.4. We also calculate a kurtosis of 0.446, which means the curve is slightly peaked. This statistically confirms that scores are tightly clustered around those higher values. So, the major takeaway for this that our sample demonstrate excellent overall academic achievement with just a few outliers. Next. Finally, for my part of the presentation, let's look at the digital user profile. Unlike the GPA, the screen time distribution is positively skewed at 0.414. You can see that average usage peaks right around the 8-hour mark. However, that long right tail reveals a minority of students who are engaging in extremely high screen usage, exceeding 11 hours. The kurtosis for screen time is 0.243, which tells us this data closely mirrors a standard normal distribution without any extreme structural anomalies. To wrap up this section, most of the students in our study utilize screens for about 7 to 9 hours daily, with only a few stretching into exercise excessive limits of up to 13 hours. I will now pass it over to my colleagues to discuss how these two variables interact.
Okay, thank you, Alivian. Moving on to slide 7, let's analyze the GPA distribution across gender using this violin plot. On the right, you can see the distribution. The female group in pink has a wide top and a short tail, which means their GPAs are highly stable. The male group, which is in the blue, has a slender middle but a long downward tail, indicating higher variation and even extreme low outliers around 3.2. The neutral group in gray is symmetrical and even. However, when we look at the statistical test at the bottom, one-way ANOVA result give us an F value of 0.695 and a P value of 0.505. Since the p-value is greater than 0.05, the result is insignificant. This means gender does not significantly differentiate GPA outcomes, explaining only 3.6% of the variation. So, while the shapes look different, the difference is not statistically meaningful. Next, on slide 8, we move to the correlation between screen time and the GPA. If you look at the graph, us show us a negative relationship, but let's take a look at the numbers. The Pearson correlation is minus 0.378, and the statistical significance is 0.016. In statistics, anything below 0.05 is significant, so this proves a significant moderate negative relationship. As screen usage increases, GPA tends to decrease. However, we also need the nuance, the R square. Inside box, inside box shows an R square value of 0.143. This means screen times accounts for exactly 14.3% of the total variation in GPA scores. The remaining 9, 85.7% is influenced by others factor. Next, now let's take a look at slide 9, the interaction by gender. Before we break it down, the general trends in this graphic is clear. First, the female group in red line has the shallowest slope. They are the most resilient to the negative effect of screen, with the widest data spread 5 from 5 to 13 hours. Next, look at the male group, the blue line. They have the steepest slope, meaning they are the most vulnerable. Males experience drastic GPA drops as screen time rises. There is also a stark outlier, which is this one, around 3.2 GPA at 10 hours of screen time. Finally, the neutral group, which is this gray one, sits in the middle with a moderate slope. Next, let's go to slide 10, where we build the linear regression model. This allows us to predict GPA based on screen time. The predictive equation is GPA equals to 4.059 minus 0.038x. So what does that negative 0.038 mean? Look at the coefficient box. This one. Uh, for every additional 1 hour of screen time, the GPA is predicted to decrease by 0.038 points. If a student has 10 hours of screen time, their GPA dropped by almost 0.4 points. Is this model valid? I can say yes, because the ANOVA F value is 6.345 and the P value is around 0.016, which is under 0.05. So the model is statistically significant, confirming the negative trend. So this is the negative trend. Finally, on slide 11, we break down the regression coefficient. First, the constant is 4.059. This is the theoretical maximum GPA if a student had absolutely zero screen time, and it is highly significant with P smaller than 0.001. The second one is the screen time coefficient, which is minus 0.038, confirming the inverse relationship with a p-value of 0.016. But the most important part is the context box. On the bottom right, even though our model is highly significant, the scatter plot visually confirms the R-square of 14.3%. Many points stray from the line. This point is stray from the line. This proves that screen time is not the sole defining factor of GPA. Other factors like study habit, sleep, and mental health play a huge role. Next to Arini Najla Khania, the literature discussion.
On this slide, we compare our findings with previous students. First, Hongkong et al. 2018 confirms surrogates are globally associated with digital misuse. Their findings are equals minus 0.32, align strongly with our dataset's finding are equals minus 0.378. Second, Anameti et al. 2023 found that academic screen time correlates positively P equals 0.541, while non-academic correlates negatively P equals minus 0.575. Therefore, the relationship is complex. Our negative correlation likely stems from a dominance of non-academic screen time among respondents. Self-control and purpose of use are the hidden 85.7% factors. Next. This slide explains the possible mechanism behind our findings, the way behind the drop. Our data answer what happens, but Yuan et al. 2023 explain why increased screen time really impact mental and physical health. First, depression R equals 0.81. Second, high stress R equals 0.83. Third, poor sleep quality R equals 0.75. Yuan et al. Found no significant gender difference in screen time, perfectly validating our ANOVA findings. Next. Based on our analysis, there are three main findings answering the research question. First, confirmed negatively. Yes, screen time has a significant negative relationship with GPA, R equals minus 0.378 and P equals 0.016, reducing scores by 0.038 points per hour. Second, gender consistency. Gender is not a statistically significant differentiator. P equals 0.505. Top trend lines show males are slightly more vulnerable. Third, actionable insight. Because the variance explained is only 14.3%. Practicing self-control and directing screen time toward academic purpose can mitigate this negative effect. Next. There are the main references used in our study. In the first, Hawkan et al. 2018, key research focused systematic review of digital habits, relationship form, negative correlation are equals minus 0.32. Second, Anometi et al. 2023, key research focused match student usage patterns and relationship form academic plus or non-academic minus. Third, Q1 et al. 2023, key research focus sleep quality and stress factor relationship form significantly to distress. Next. Okay, thank you for your attention. That is the end on our presentation. Thank you.